unfortunately, I'm not so good at Swedish either, so I will keep this presentation in English. I'm a Dane, and I'm the CFO of the company. I would like you, as mentioned, that some of you probably have heard the Oncology Venture presentation before. I would like to say that I would like to present a new and more focused and commercialization focused company to you today than what you have seen before. Just to have the disclaimer, which I have to show you due to our lawyers, we are with forward-looking statements, so I hope you have had the chance to look at it, and I will jump to the next slide. Yep, here it is. This is a snapshot of Oncology Venture. And I think that what we have highlighted in the blue is what we really are trying to do. We are trying to build a personalized medicine company developing new therapeutics for unmet needs for the human cancer by use of the DRP, which is our best-in-class diagnostic tool we have. I will come a little bit back to that. I think that we are listed, or we are placed in Denmark. We are listed on the First North here in Stockholm. We have a very strong pipeline of 7 new development candidates, which is all within anti-cancer or oncology. We have right now just been out telling that we are now prioritizing only 3 of those programs, and I will get back to that, where we are with that. As mentioned, we have what we believe the best-in-class DRP platform. That means that we have what we call drug response predictor, so we can be sure when we go out and test in patients that we have selected the right patient material. So this is a very important thing. Again, I will get back to that on that. Of course, we have a very strong IP position. We have both on the own development programs we are running, but also on other companies' compounds. And we expect that this will also give us a good business platform when we are getting ready to talk with all of these. Finally, secondly, we have also 2 months ago announced that there's a new management in place, which will be focusing on commercialization. And well, I'm one part of it. I will get a little bit back to that. And then we are right now running a 100 million Swedish krona offering, which is a right issue to our existing shareholders. I can tell you that the trade of the subscription rights will finish tomorrow, and we will have the results coming out as soon as possible, so before the end of this month. There's just for giving you some few details on that one, it's a 2 krona unit where we have the 1 stock and 1 warrant attached to that. The warrant will have a strike price of 6 krona and a 24 months period of running. So that's very quickly where we are today. I would now like to go to the management team. As mentioned, we have set up a completely new management team in the company, where Steve has joined us. He's a U.S. citizen, have a very strong base in background in oncology. He's been had taken at least 5 of cancer compounds to the marketplace, with one of them selling more than $500 million. He has extraordinary experience within both big pharma and small pharma. There's mentioned Eli Lilly, Johnson & Johnson, and Bristol Myers Squibb. That's where he's been working, but he's also been working in small biotech companies in the US, also within oncology. He has more than 30 years of experience here. He's been working both in public and non-public, so he has also an experience in how to work there. Then it's myself. I'd like to say Steve started the 15th of September. I started 1st of October, so we are about 2 months old in the game, so to speak. My background is been working as a chief financial officer and an investor relation officer for 30 years. I have been co-founding Neurosearch, which maybe some of you know. But I've also been working within Novo Nordisk, and lately I've been working at Zoetis. Zoetis is the world's largest veterinary pharma company, and where I came into that was that I actually leaded the transaction of a small biotech diagnostic company, which was sold to Zoetis for about 500 million Danish kroner. So this is my background. Steve and I, we are the executive management, but behind there we also have some strong senior vice presidents. There's Dr. Sten Knudsen, who is the founder of the DRP technology, together with Thomas Jensen. And then we have our medical officer, Maria Lindfo. And also we have a business development person, Jim, who is have a background in patent application, the patent lawyer, and has been working with most of the in-licensed products we have today. So we believe that we have set a strong and focused team to carry out the job to be bringing this our products into the commercialization. This is the pipeline as it looks. As I mentioned, we have seven products in our pipeline, but as you also can see, I've highlighted the three on the top. Those are those we are prioritizing today. We have done a thorough evaluation of all our seven programs. We had about 18 different sets of stands where we needed to evaluate it. For example, IP, for example, how big commercial market was, and cetera, etc. And therefore, out from that, we selected those three. It means that the four other programs that we are running, we are actually pausing them. It doesn't mean that we have not stopped the clinical programs. We are just finishing up all the clinical trials which is running, and then we will still have an active business development on all four programs. That means that we are looking for people who could be interested in taking over these assets. So this is where we are right now. I will come a little bit back into the three of our prioritized programs later. But I would like just to also give you a little bit sense of the technology, the DRP, which is the basis for the oncology venture. And to try to illustrate where we're coming from, then the challenge within drug development for cancer drugs is that you have a very low response rates. You typically have response rate down to 10, 20, or 30% when you do clinical trials, and that's a huge problem. And the reason for that is that when you go out, you really don't have a diagnostic tool to predict who will react and who will not react. So in principle, as I'm shown here, we actually give to a lot of people, and then actually we find out that only a few of them benefits for it. And that causes what you have, as mentioned, the high failure rates within the clinical development. It has high toxicity to it because people are responding bad to it. We have, for the patient, loss of very valuable time. And for the society, of course, this gives that the cost to treating these cancer patients is much higher than needed. So this is the real problem we have here. And what's needed, I have almost told you, that is we need a precision diagnostic to select the right patient for the right drug. And I think that, again, a better response rate, effective over all kinds of cancer drugs. It just not need to be effective within a specific class. It need to be working different in all classes of oncology drugs. And then finally, it has to be a standardized and cost-efficient diagnostic kit, or else you can't really make a big business. This is what I think that we have developed, and I would like to show you a few slides on that also. But I would like to say that it's not an easy ride. Cancer is very complex, and I've tried to illustrate it on this one here, that it is actually more than 25,000 genes that are playing into this thing, and gives numerous ways of layers and how you should treat the cancer. What we've done is that we have been using artificial intelligence, mathematical models, where we are taking all the knowledge we have in the public domain from FDA and from others. We have also our own proprietary stock of what's called biopsies, and we are also using when we have collaborations with some pharma companies, we're also using their information. And all pooling all this together, we can actually bring down what we think that's relevant, what is really important to treat the cancer patients. So instead of looking about 25,000 gene expressions, if I'm going to use that expression, we can actually narrow it down to about 50 to 400. Therefore, it gets much easier to come up with a recommendation. This drug will work in your disease, in your cancer. It will not work in your patient. So that's the way we worked on it. And this is a technology with a platform which has been developed, as I mentioned, with Sten Knudsen as a professor at DTU in Denmark. How does it work? I've just taken some few data here. This is from Lipsys, one of our programs. And the chart I'm showing here is what we call a survival chart. And this is done on a Retrospective study where we have said we went in and had biopsies for, I can't remember, it's about 100 patients, and we went in, looked at it and say the likelihood of that you will have a longer survival and who will not have longer survival. And actually you can see here with the green was that actually within the top 33% we were predicting would have a longer survival. They actually did have it. And then at the red one where we predicted that there was was not so sure that it would have, that was also right. So this graph is a way to show you that this is a technology, this works. We have tested it in more than 35 different trials, and we have actually had very positive results on most of them. Here's just shown a few. Of course, we have also had some where we have not have sufficient data, or we have not have the test has been too old, and therefore we also have had some with weeks. But due to the short presentation I have not shown you, or just shown you that we believe this is a technology that works. So with this, we believe that, for example, that we can double or triple the effects of the clinical trials when we go in and treat with patients, because we can be much more precise to the patient to say, will this work or will this not work on the specific drug? So by doing that, I think I would also like to go to our prioritized pipeline as it looks today. The first one is domitamide. This is a phase 3 product in-licensed from Novartis. Novartis has done a full development of this product. The reason why they didn't want to go further with it was that they had only the similar effect as the golden standard on the market. We have in-licensed this product, and what's really fantastic about it has been, as mentioned, in phase 3 for renal cell carcinoma, and we have actually, it has been in phase 2 for 4 other cancer forms. The mechanism of action, I will not touch much about that. That's a little bit outside my knowledge. But what's important, it sounds maybe a little trivial, but what's really important also is that actually we have we have the compound produced, so we have compound to be selling, commercial compound, which has been approved by FDA. This is extremely important because typically when you have done a phase 3 and starting the regulatory processes, you actually also have to start with developing the whole manufacturing and supply chain. This is not necessary for us. We have it already now, so that actually can save us a lot of time. Therefore, as we believe, we have a quite clear regulatory pathway where we are planning to start what we call a pre-NDA. NDA is new drug application, meeting with the FDA, and that's something we'll target here in 2020. We actually said that we expect to have that in the first half of 2020. And if this comes out positive, that means that we will ask FDA, can we get domitamide approved based on the phase 3 data, plus our DRP on top of that with the selection as a selection criteria to who will work or not. If the FDA nods to this, we believe we will be able to file an NDA at the late 2020. So this is you could say, the most advanced program we have, and it's within, as I said, in renal oncology, cancer forms, and we have estimated that this market is about $6 billion. And as mentioned, the golden standard, IXEMPRA, has about $700 million in sales. So this is a quite exciting drug that we are looking at, because we have all the safety data, we have a huge knowledge about the program, and so this is where we are progressing, and that was the reason why we selected this as one of our prioritized programs. If I go to the next one, IXEMPRA, which is coming from our farm, and actually it's been first developed by Bristol Myers Squibb. So again, it's what's important to notice here, it's approved in the US for treatment. It was not approved in Europe due to that the European EMA thought that they were not showing efficacy, good enough efficacy. And that's what we believe we can do with the DRP, so we can be selecting the right patients for the compound, and therefore by enhancing the efficacy of the drug. So that's what we're looking at right now. It has been, as mentioned, been validated in metastatic breast cancer. We are planning for moving on into clinical trials and start that in 2020. And which is very exciting also about this drug, that this represents a breast cancer. Breast cancer is representing maybe the biggest part within cancer. It's more than $25 billion in sales, out of estimated $200 billion in total in the cancer area. So we believe that this is a very exciting position we can have it in, and as mentioned, we are moving this into phase 2 in 2020. Finally, 2X121, which is a PAR, it's a dual PAR and Tankyrase inhibitor. What's important is a PAR inhibitor is an area which has been a lot of interest coming up right now. Some of the real big players within oncology is playing here. It's talking about Bristol Myers and GSK, and we have had the chance to in-license this product from the Japanese company called Eisai, which we are very excited about. This compound is not as far in development as the others, but what they have is that they have this very strong interest right now, because this is PAR inhibitors is really some of the where the most exciting is around in the oncology field right now. We still believe, due to that there are other PAR inhibitors on the market, we know how we should develop the compound. We are having a phase 2 ongoing in ovarian cancer. That's done in Dana-Farber Cancer Lab Institute in Boston. That's one of the best well-known cancer institutes in the world. We have a DRP, of course, shown that. I haven't selected not to show you any clinical data, but if you go into our website, we have our investor presentation, and actually there's a slide on each of the programs where you also can see the clinical data we have right now and why we have based on that. But unfortunately, due to the short time here, I've decided not to show that. Again, very exciting market opportunities. Where we believe it could be more than $9 million at the end of 2027. So here it's again with these 3 programs we have selected here is, as I mentioned, based on what we felt that we could be by having a focused approach, could bring these fastest to the market, and therefore by creating most shareholder value. So with that, I will move on to some strategic, considerations we have been doing, because again, we need to be focused. We have until now have built up a big pipeline. We have done a lot of exploratory studies, but now we need to focus and bring them forward to commercialization and sales. So we have said that we have this strategic horizon for growth, or stepwise where we are expanding it, and as said, it says it is that we are advancing. What we are focusing on right now is advancing the 3 prioritized program I mentioned. We are advancing them in one cancer form, as mentioned. Again, they have opportunities in other forms of cancer, but we are focusing on one to make sure that we're moving as fast as possible to commercialization. Step 2 will, of course, continue to develop these programs and get them into regulatory and pivotal phase 3 studies, but also because now we will be able to approach pharma companies both with the out-licensing of our own assets, but also we can use the DRP technology to help them select the right patient for their oncology development programs. That's a process we will start up as soon as we believe that we have these 3 programs full on the way. And then finally, step 3, again, approval, so make sure that we push the prioritized program as fast as possible. But then also here we are introducing what we call PRP, and actually it's the same as DRP, but it's just turned around. That means this is a patient response predictor. That means that we we see the opportunity to be able to sell these tests to hospitals where when the patient comes in with a tumor, they will take the biopsy. We can check it in our labs and recommend which kind of treatment or which kind of drug would be the most efficacious to that. The reason why we first would start up on that so late is that this is a completely different kind of business model. It requires other people skills forms. It has other regulatory challenges, and it also needs that we have to build up clinics all over the world. So this is a little bit more complicated, and that's the reason why we would like to wait to that until we have all the other things well on the way. So what are we doing different from 2 months ago? As mentioned, we are focusing on selected program. We have streamlined our organization, and we are also making sure that all the money goes to the programs and nothing to else. So this is a completely new strategy, as I mentioned. 3 programs, which is prioritized on commercialization. We have financial controls. We have to be sure that we have all our money moving into the right programs. Budget has been established on those. We have started also on building up a new organizational structure. We have actually reduced our headcount with 32%. We would like this new culture in the organization to be focused on development and, of course, commercialization. So that's a huge focus for us. And last but not at least, we would like to have a much more clear communication to our shareholders. We understand that there has been a lot communication going on, but the question if it's relevant. We will try to be more precise and stick to our milestones, and that's hopefully also will drive shareholder value. So finally, to sum up this opportunity, a focused phase 2, phase 3 oncology pipeline, which is where we are very near term to have a very important value inflection points. We have a first-in-class, first to the marketplace DRP. That's the whole basic on the company. We are not just dependent on getting success in the clinical programs. We have also this strong DRP model, which we can use both for the patient, but also drug companies. We have an efficient development model. We are focusing, of course, on using CROs, not building up a huge organization, and we are, as mentioned, that because we have in-licensed these products, we have a lot of tox work done, CMC work done, and clinical trials. That means also that it's much easier and cheaper for us. As mentioned, we have set an experienced team to move on from this. We have both them on the management side, on the licensing side, but also certainly on the diagnostic side and the clinical development. So we expect that when we are moving ahead with this pipeline with near-term will create some interesting milestones, and what we are, of course, is focused on is to drive shareholder value. So I think that I will leave it with there.
Thank you very much, Henrik.
Okay.
You will be with us?
Yes.
Out in the mingle area afterwards, and you will be able to answer a few questions.
Sure, I will do that.
Thank you very much for coming.
Welcome.
Pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
Thank you.